Hi Kids Live, it's Erin here, and I am so excited about our brand new curriculum that we're going to be doing for the next 12 weeks. We are going to be studying as you can see it here, it says I can't do it because it's backwards, the Beatitudes, which is kind of a really big word and one that we'll be looking at a lot closer at. So you'll, by the end of this, definitely know what the Beatitudes are. But today we're actually going to just kind of take a step back and look at some background information before we jump into the Beatitudes. So let's get started. The first thing I was going to say though, and this is a great thing, if hopefully you're doing this with a grown-up, and if not, that's okay. If you know how to pause, that's good too. But I was just going to ask a question I want you to think about. So have you ever run out of something important? And if you did, what did you do? So go ahead and pause if you can right now and either talk to a person next to you or your mom or dad or somebody, and then come back. So I'll give you a minute to pause. All right, so hopefully you had a chance to kind of answer that question. What would you do if you ran out of something important, and what that was? Today we're gonna kind of do what's called a Beatitude Reflection. And here's some of this background information that I was talking about earlier. So today we're gonna join a huge group of people who are following Jesus. And he, of course, is changing everything. He's telling stories, people are following him. But before we can go on this journey, we need to kind of pack a few things. So I have my handy dandy Compassion Camp bag. Hopefully you all got one of those. And we don't need a lot of stuff, so we're just gonna pack a few things together. So if you're gonna go on a journey, what would you need? Probably some snacks, right? So we've got some bread here. I'm gonna stick that in our bag. Maybe some money, like a few coins, some things that you might want. So I'm gonna stick some of that in here. And then just in case, as you were going along, it might get kind of chilly. So I got a little blanket that I'm gonna stick in my bag here. Okay, all of that nice and neat, right? Because you see, back in this time when Jesus was traveling around, life was really, really hard for a lot of people, right? And especially those who were following Jesus. There was this small group of people who were really rich and wealthy, who had lots of money and lots of land and lots of honor. And they controlled almost everything. And money and land were some of the most powerful things that a person could have in Jesus's time. Another important thing was this word, and I just mentioned it. It's the word honor, right? Honor. And to have honor meant that you had people's respect and to belong to some kind of group. So this same small group that had all of this power and money made the decisions in the government which helped them get more money and more land and more honor. And these decisions also made life really hard for people who were poorer, because they took away those people's money and their land and their honor away from them. And this was called an oppressive system, right? So it took away some of their honor, it took away some of their money, and it took away some of their land. So that's an oppressive system, okay? And Jesus couldn't wait to show the people how backwards this idea was, that just this small group would be taking money from another group, right? And so Jesus began to help them by healing people from all kinds of sickness, right? And telling them about God's kingdom. And you can think of the kingdom as the way the world works or is set up. So that's another important word, kingdom, right? It's sometimes underneath a ruler like a king or a queen, right? So after healing people and getting rid of so much pain and suffering, Jesus cared for these people in another way too. He brought them up to a mountain and sat them down to teach them and bring healing to their hearts and to their souls and to their minds, right? So all those things that he was trying to heal after them. So we need to join Jesus up on that mountain. So we're gonna have to hike, and make sure we have lots of energy and lots of So yeah, so we might want to actually take out some of that stuff we had here, right? So let's get some energy by eating some of that bread that we had. So if you have got your bread, get it out. I'm gonna take some, get some going here, right? So that'll give us some energy, and then we need some hydration. So make sure you have like some water. Maybe you could go by the river, drink some water up. And if you're feeling like you're ready, we're going to hike. So you can either do two things. You can stand up if you want to, and you can do some marching, or if you want to just pretend, you could use your fingers as you're marching. That's what I'm gonna do right now. So let's see. If you're gonna march, we're gonna do this for the count of 20. Are you ready? Okay, let's hike together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That was good. We made it. We're on the mountain. So Jesus gathered all the people around him and told them that God wants everyone to have all that they need and no one to be harmed or oppressed, right? Taken away from. And in God's kingdom, there is abundance, which is another really good, important word. There's our word, abundance, right? What does that mean? Abundance means that there is more than enough food and love and money and resources for every child of God to survive, right? And when there's enough for everyone, no one needs to fight or oppress other people, right? Everything Jesus taught and did was about breaking down hurtful, oppressive systems and building up God's kingdom of abundance instead. That's so important, right? It's not about trying to make other people push down, but instead lifting them up. That's what God was wanting Jesus to show his people. So Jesus listed 9 different ways people are blessed. To be blessed means to be happy in the fullest. And people often thought happiness happened because of their situation or their circumstances or how life was going for them. And we still sort of think about that today. The kind of people Jesus described in these Beatitudes as blessed or happy are not necessarily the ones that we think, or even back then the people thought. This was like twisting everything up, right? Jesus said, happy or blessed people are those we might usually think as unlucky or having lots of trouble. So Jesus' topsy-turvy teaching showed them that they are loved, they are special, and they are not alone. So he encouraged them to see this in one another too. Jesus blessed people through his actions and his words, and he gave them hope. So that's some background information. I know that's kind of a lot. There were some big words in there. Hopefully you kind of could understand what those kind of key words were when we were talking about them. But back right before when I was talking, there were those 9 things that people were blessed with, and those are what we're going to really study. Those are going to be our Beatitudes that we're going to be looking at. But before we go on to your next video or whatever you need to do next, I wanted to give a blessing. I want to bless you. And a blessing is something that you receive. So you can put your hands out like this, kind of like you're going to get a gift, right? And I'll speak the blessing, and if you receive it, take the blessing and put it on your heart, because that's where we like to keep those blessings. So here's your blessing for today. Put those hands out. You are blessed. There is more than enough love for you here today in God's kingdom. Remember that you are loved and you are blessed. All right, I hope you have a great time listening to that. We'll hear some more about these stories, and if you get a chance, please do some of the activities that are below.